Hey there, you girls, boys, and non-binaries. So last night I watched Contact, one of the best sci-fi films ever made. It's going on 30 years since it was released, and the last time I saw this movie was when I was in the throes of my Christian belief. And for those of you who've seen the movie, you know aspects of faith come up a number of poignant times in the movie. Just for quick context, and obviously there are going to be spoilers for this almost 30-year-old movie. But for quick context, Jodie Foster plays this astronomer named Ellie and finds this message that comes from outer space. If you've seen Pluribus, this might sound familiar. This is where they get the idea, probably. And it is a message to build this craft that can take you to the stars, whatever. Matthew McConaughey, all right. He plays a suave and debonair theologian, and he shares how he went to seminary, but he was going to be a priest, but he just couldn't handle the whole celibacy thing. And right after that, she says, "Why don't you come sleep with me?" Funny side story. The first time I saw this movie was with a Christian friend of mine. One of her biggest complaints about the movie was the fact that he was a Christian who slept with this woman. Anyway, I digress. The reason why I'm bringing this up, why am I bringing this up? Well, one of the concepts that comes up, like I said, is faith versus science. And Ellie, in essence, is an agnostic atheist. She believes in science. And obviously, Matthew McConaughey, who plays this character, Palmer Joss, he's the voice of religion. And there are two scenes I'm going to have to address, and I'm going to have to do it in two parts, but they both relate to Occam's razor. And the way she describes it in the movie, it's simpler than it actually is, but this is the first introduction that a lot of people have to the concept of Occam's razor. And then they do this scene in the movie that I want to show you, and I'm going to have some commentary about it. So let's watch the scene, and then we'll talk about it after.
I got one for you.
What do you got?
Occam's razor. You've ever heard of it?
Occam's razor. Sounds like some slasher movie.
No, Occam's razor. It's a basic scientific principle. And it says, all things being equal, the simplest explanation tends to be the right one.
Makes sense to me.
All right. So what's more likely? Thank you.
You're welcome.
An all-powerful, mysterious God created the universe and then decided not to give any proof of his existence. Or that he simply doesn't exist at all. And that we created him so we wouldn't have to feel so small and alone.
Yes, that is the correct answer. I just. Anyway, let's continue.
I don't know. I couldn't imagine living in a world where God didn't exist, I wouldn't want to.
Now, I want to address this part first, because his answer to this is the answer that I think a lot of Christians, and this can probably be applicable to other people who belong to some type of religion, but largely for a lot of Christians I encounter, I think this is one of the most honest answers that a Christian can give. They don't believe because they have any particular proof. They just can't imagine a world where there is no God. And that's not necessarily a horrible reason to believe in God. I personally don't think it's a good reason to believe in God, but it's an understandable reason. It's this idea of wanting there to be meaning, knowing that there's something bigger than you outside of yourself in the universe out there, and not being able to cope with the fact that there may not be a God.
How do you know you're not deluding yourself? I mean, for me, I need proof.
Proof. Did you love your father?
What?
Your dad, did you love him?
Yes, very much.
Prove it.
What's frustrating about this particular argument, and I remember when I was a Christian at the time, I was like, yeah, you tell him, Palmer Joss, you tell her, Matthew McConaughey, prove it. You can't prove it, just like you can't prove God. But that doesn't mean your love doesn't exist, and that doesn't mean God doesn't exist. I mean, the difference is there are specific things that she can point to that would, obviously, you can never definitively prove her feelings unless you are in her mind, obviously. But there are plenty of things a person can point to throughout her life to quote unquote prove that she loved her father. And it's kind of, I mean, he knows. She, I think at this point, had told the story about her dad and how he died when she was 10 and everything. And as an audience, we know the impact that a question like this would have on her. So it seems almost kind of underhanded that he would go there to that topic, prove that you loved your father when he knows that she did. But proving that you love someone is not on the same par as proving that a God exists. And I understand the argument, that being, you can't prove a person's love. That doesn't mean that love doesn't exist. You can't prove God. That doesn't mean God doesn't exist. From that standpoint, I understand it. I just don't think it's a very good argument. If you are someone who's looking to make an argument, it's not a very good argument for, quote unquote, proving that God exists or amount of evidence. So anyway, that was the first Occam's razor introduction that I wanted to address. We're going to have to, this is already getting too long. We're going to have to address the next one in part 2.